proud of your shape, proud of your size, proud of your looks and you're proud of your style, proud of your body, your bumper and thighs, you're proud of your complexion, so kill him with a smile.
Born blessed, yeah. Proud of me body. No need no gym now, follow everybody. Me body firm, no, it's not flabby. Shape like me mother, I'm the flavor me daddy. We have the natural body when you need service. Anywhere you come, me must deserve this. Set him reservation, reserve this. Serve me on a platter, yeah, deserve this.
Proud of your shape, proud of your size, proud of your looks and you're proud of your style, proud of your body, your bumper and thighs, you're proud of your complexion, so kill him with a smile. Proud of your shape, proud of your size, proud of your looks and you're proud of your style, proud of your body, your bumper and thighs, you're proud of your complexion, so kill him with a smile.
No girl can't with me down now with no open and no aisle. Once when me down come me ya kill them with the style. Can't lick me chip cause it no come with no file. Good girl of me proud, tell them all you want. Sitting fat get heavy weighted, good brains well educated, bumper high well elevated, skin clean yeah never tainted. To every girl this dedicated from you.
Proud of your shape, proud of your size, proud of your looks and you're proud of your style, proud of your body, your bumper and thighs, you're proud of your complexion, so kill him with a smile. Proud of your shape, proud of your size, proud of your looks and you're proud of your style, proud of your body, your bumper and thighs, you're proud of your complexion, so kill him with a smile. So kill him with a smile. Something right at your feet. Tiffany Malvo.
What you mean? Come on, got it like that.
Zip.
Boss blank means rewind, light up the torch mean forward. You requested it, so we rewound inside. Remix! How we have said that fix, sick. Joseph got alongside Anthony Malvo. How we have said, like a touch and Lego. Malvo!
Oh, baby, my girl is so beautiful. That is why I love her so. Every time she comes around, I can't get enough of her. Smile is so contagious, make me feel so in love. She just brighten up my life like the stars up above. Oh baby, oh baby.
A pretty girl me want, a pretty girl me want, a pretty girl me want. A pretty girl me want, a pretty girl me want. Malvo, that one you have 50-50. 50 for you, 50 for me. Left Atlanta, gone down to Miami. And the girl them no stop from study. And the sing and the DJ, the girl them a free. Me can't left the producer lean up on a tree. Tell the digital fi program down a Melanie. Miriam win some Jennifer and Bouncy Malvo.
Cause anytime I close my eyes, I think of how you really make me feel. You are my lady, and I gotta show my love is real. With all my heart, I wanna be with you wherever you are.
All of the girls them a fairy, all of them pretty. Me say none of them no ugly. See it then. All of the girls them a fairy, all of them pretty. Me say none of them no ugly. That means say that one you no humpy dumpy. None of fairy girl them they no have job. See, not touch the stage and come off empty. All for one toko got the guava jelly. Go up and them we give her icky. Well this a one you are the big duty free. Can't get we out of the girl them pussy. To get acquainted man is not no training.
My girl is so beautiful. That is why I love her so. Every time she comes around, I can't get enough of her. Smile is so contagious, make me feel so in love. She just brighten up my life like the stars up above. Oh baby, oh baby.
Come now, all of the girls them a fairy. All of them pretty, me say none of them no ugly. See it then. All of the girls them a fairy. All of them pretty, me say none of them no ugly. Watch ya. But a Montreal, girl a follow back on me. Over Quebec and the same story. Me have Japanese and me have Chinese. Girls from Singapore, girls from Italy, girls from Amsterdam, girls from Germany, girls from Stonebridge go straight to Hackney. Dropping a Paris, everything Irie. Big dance broke out a Champs-Élysées. African girls say them ever lively. Jamaican girls say them belong to we, not to mention the girl them from GT. Trinidad and Tobago go round a Chile. What is to be, then me know it a fi be. Malpower me soccer no come fi run the country. Along with digital I play the sweet melody. Me not tell no mama for come sing the symphony. Hey go!
'Cause anytime I close my eyes, I think of how you really make me feel. You are my lady, and I gotta show my love is real. With all my heart, I wanna be with you wherever you are.
A pretty girl me want, 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 pretty girl me want. Valvo, alongside the cotton, alongside digital, and we are so we just open up the girl them terminal. You see me I say? Yeah, like a special. Take it away.
Have you ever did something for so long, and when you realized it was wrong, you were upset with yourself? I have voted the ticket since I was 18 years old, out of ignorance. No more voting the ticket. Each candidate is on the same footing, and I have to pick the Dem that has my best interests at heart. Not the interests of the party, but of the people. May the 8th, vote for Ivanka Hall, candidate for Ohio State Representative District 12. I'm not on the establishment ticket. I don't deserve the seat because of who I know. I deserve the seat because I have the qualifications and experience to serve.
Paid for by the Friends of Ivanka Hall.
You're listening to Elevations Radio, your station for uplifting lifestyle and wellness talk radio.
Views expressed on shows are those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its management, or other advertisers. Use of these shows and all services provided therein are for personal use only. The Elevations Radio Network holds no responsibility for the validity or accuracy of information on these shows.
Hey fam, welcome to the Let's Be Real show with Greg Bam Reaves here on elevationsradio.com, home of the best indie music you'll find online. I am your host, Greg Bam Reaves. I hope you all are doing well. I'm excited about this show today, but before we get to that, I want to send out a few condolences. One to the family of Cleveland's own saxman Maurice Reedus Jr., who passed away recently at the age of 65. Anybody who lives in Cleveland or ever visited and you've been downtown, you've probably seen him. This guy, incredible sax player, been playing the sax downtown probably since the early 90s. And he passed away this week, so condolences go out to his family. Also, the Bush family, President Bush's wife, Barbara, passed away. They were married for over 70 years. And also Aaron Popovich, Greg Popovich, the coach of the San Antonio Spurs, his wife, Aaron, passed away, and they were married 40 years. Hey. I'm saying hello to my guest. I'm going to introduce you all to her in just a second. But as always, I got to get to some positive black news. First, my dude. Now, you all know how I feel about today's hip-hop, but this young man is not included. I'm a big fan of Kendrick Lamar, and he is the first rapper to win a Pulitzer. For those of you who don't know what a Pulitzer is, it's an outstanding journalism award named after Joseph Pulitzer. And they expanded to music in 1943, and Kendrick Lamar is the first hip hop artist to win this award. Music other than classical or jazz. I'm extremely proud of him. And hold on, let me get some technical things together. Hold on. There you go. Out of her face so we can see her. Right. Okay. So, big ups to Kendrick Lamar. Also, let's see. United National Bank is the only black-owned bank in Houston, and they have in Texas, not just Houston, but in Texas, and they've opened up its first out-of-state branch in Atlanta. So now Atlanta has one United Bank and United National Bank, two black-owned banks where we need to start putting our money into so we can get some loans and whatnot to start our own businesses and maybe open up some more black-owned banks around the country. Also, Mekhi Johnson and Samantha O'Sullivan, two young African-American students, were accepted to all 8 Ivy League schools. I'm going to keep talking about these young people getting accepted to these Ivy League schools because of those people that talked about that young man that got accepted at 20. Like, you're only supposed to apply to so many schools if you know you're whatever people. I'm happy for Mekhi Johnson and Samantha O'Sullivan. Keep doing your thing, young people. Proud of you. Also, any of you that's into the stock market, the biggest trend now, a lot of U.S. companies are starting to invest in stocks of companies based in Kenya, Ghana, Zambia, and other nations across the continent of Africa. So Wakanda is about to become real life. We're starting to invest money over there. So if you're an investor, I suggest you look in the South African area and see what you could do. And now, I ran through that kind of quick because I'm really excited to get to my guest. We have a deep topic today, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. I'd like you all to welcome Miss Neicey Bryant.
Hello, everyone.
How are you today?
I'm pretty good.
Good. Now, if you've seen the advertisement for this week's show, it is a heavy subject. We're going to be talking about surviving the loss of children. I myself lost my oldest child. Ms. Bryant recently lost her only son. And I know a lot of people that have lost a child. And we today just want to talk about a few things of how we get through it, how we keep moving forward. And before we start that, I would like you, if you don't mind, Ms. Bryant, to describe your son. Tell people, let them get to know Michael Chapman.
Michael Chapman was like unbelievable. He was a lovable kid. He was the life of the party. I was just looking at some pictures of him last night, me and my daughter. Mm-hmm. She's a survivor through gun violence. We was just looking at some things, some pictures of him, and you know, every time you would look at the pictures, his smile would light up the world. Mm-hmm. He was 17 years old. He was a quarterback for John Hay High School. He been playing ball since he was 6 years old. Mm-hmm. He had dreams of playing for Ohio State, going to the NFL. You know, and it's just like, I really don't, it's so much to say about him.
Right.
He was a peacemaker. He was a funny type of kid. Like, the friends that he was involved with, like, he was like, "Ma, I need them to stay a night over our house tonight." Mm-hmm. You know, he was that type of person. He was just a lovable kid, and it's just hurtful to me how he went out the world. Yeah. I feel like he got robbed.
Right.
Basically, this would have been his year to graduate, going to prom, just going to another level, and you know, he was gonna make it there, but
right.
You know.
Yeah, I definitely wanted you all to get a sense of our children that we're going to be talking about today. And the phone lines are open at 440-252-0518. That's 440-252-0518. If you want to call, join in, chime in. My oldest daughter, her name was Kiera Marie Reaves. I lost her at the age of 14. She was 14. Kiera, a lot like Michael, life of the party. She was incredibly funny. She was funny. She was tough. She was intelligent. She was beautiful. Our kids aren't perfect, but in your eyes, they are. Exactly. Especially after you lose them. Like, people ask me a lot of times, how did you do it? How do you get... And I'm like, when I think about Kiera, I don't think about the times I had to spank her little legs or put her on punishment or anything like that. I think about her smile, her laughter, I'll never forget, she was 3 years old. We had a swing in the backyard, and I come outside and she's hanging upside down and just laughing because I'm like panicking. I'm like, oh my God. And she's just laughing and swinging like it's just the most natural thing in the world. Kiera was hilarious, and she was a very bright young lady. She was always an honor roll student. She could draw. She had a lot of my qualities. So, and just because our children aren't here don't mean we're pumping them up to be, they were still kids. They had their faults like any other kids, but I just wanted you all to get a sense of they're regular kids, and it can happen. It's no rhyme or reason for us, but yeah, it can happen to anybody. So treasure your moments with your children. And now I would like for you, a lot of you may have followed this story on the news about Michael Chapman. I remember it very well because my mother went to Hay, and I too had dreams of going to Ohio State and making it to the NFL. So I really related to a lot of parts of this story, but I'd like Ms. Bryant to tell you further about what happened.
Basically, he got off work. He had a summer job. He played football. He would go to work, and that day he said, "Ma, I'm running late. I ain't gonna be able to go to football practice." So I said, "Well, you ain't that late. You can still go." But he wanted to go to the store, and I just had a vibe in my heart, and I said, "I don't really want you to go to the store." His sister had just went to the grocery store, so I was like, he don't really need to go to the store, but he was so anxious to go to the store because he was a snack man.
Oh, okay.
He loved the snacks. And he went to the store, and he seen some of his friends and went over there, and a drive-by happened. He ended up trying to run, and a bullet went through his his forearm, and it traveled. So I had got a call, and they were basically saying that Michael got shot. And I said, "No, quit playing with me." And they said, "No, for real, he got shot." So before I even knew, I was running out the house, and I had told my daughter, which is my oldest daughter, that he had got shot. But I was so much into shock that he was letting me know that he couldn't move right then and there. He was paralyzed on the scene.
Wow.
And the ambulance was going all around. They was trying to get to the area, but they had took a long time, but they still got him there and stuff. But I had to deal with the things that I had to go through with him, by him being having a young black male,
right?
Going into these hospitals, and it was a lot that wasn't right to me.
Yeah. And I gotta say, following that story, all of us felt like he was gonna pull it through. I mean, watching the news, you felt like, okay, this is not gonna be one of those tragedies. And then it seemed like out of the blue, bam, we hear that he passed. So can you tell us, like, did something happen, or?
Basically, I really don't want to like get all into it, but I think that they moved my son too soon to go to rehab. It was a lot of things going on,
right?
And I can't really speak on it right now, but it was a lot of stuff going on with him. But at the end of the day, he was a positive person,
right?
Through all of what he was going through, and she was there with my daughter. My daughter was there too, because she had ended up being a victim to gun violence too. So this is not new to me, but it's different with me dealing with her and him because he ended up passing away. But she was there with him all the time too, and he was a happy kid. Even with him in the wheelchair, he still made it to be. He still was that person that he was. He was just bright, and he laughed, and he didn't just try to make everything say, well, I'm gonna be in this wheelchair. Right. He told me, I'm gonna walk again. I'm gonna get out this wheelchair. He told me, he told my family, he told everybody. And that day that he ended up passing away, he was so excited because Gucci Man ended up he was on Twitter, and he was talking about him and stuff, and I was like, because we had the
Gucci Man was talking about Mike.
Yes, it made it like, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like it was just like Gucci Man was talking about him, and I was asleep, and he woke me up and said, "Ma, get up! Gucci Man is tweeting about me," and he was so excited. So that day, because I would take him outside and put him in the courtyard, but that day I ended up taking him around the corner to get him some fresh air. I took him, I rode him around the corner, and he was just telling me how much he loved me and my daughters. I got 2 daughters, and then I got a grandson that's 2, and he loved him.
Yeah,
and he was just excited, and he was just like, "Ma, I love y'all," and he had went and did a little workout or whatever, and he so I rode him back upstairs, and he showed me, because they showed him how to use the board to slide and to get in the bed on his own, and he did that day.
Right.
And I was so happy for him. And when he woke up, he said he was hungry. He would never eat the hospital food, so he had like a grocery store, because everybody was bringing him food, Gatorades and all types of stuff. And,
right.
He was so worried about the team. But this day of July 22nd, it just went bad, and I was over there getting food for him at Walgreens, and my daughter was calling me saying he couldn't breathe. And when I got back when I had the food and everything, and I was just like, well, I was calling his name, he wasn't responding, and then something was just telling me right then and there that my son was already dead, that he had already passed. And when the ambulance had got to the rehab place and they were bringing him out, he wasn't responding.
Right.
So, due to this gun violence, I lost my child.
Yeah.
And it's been some hard 8 months for me, my family, especially my daughters, because they all grew up together, and they have been a big part of his life. They would say, well, we treated him like that was our son.
Right.
But he was a good kid. But it just hurt. And even when I look on the news to even see another kid going through violence, even if it's gun violence, just child abuse or anything like that, it hurts my heart, because
I can imagine.
That's how I lost my child. So I don't even be knowing these people, and that's how God then gave me this heart, because I will sit up and cry and don't even know these people.
Yeah.
And it hurts.
I wanted to say we lost our children in different ways. Mm-hmm. My daughter passed from bacterial meningitis, and I remember every second of that day like it was yesterday, and this happened back in 2003. I received a call from my youngest daughter, and she's screaming in the phone. I can't even understand what she's saying. And her mother takes the phone from her and said, they said something about she ain't getting enough oxygen in her brain or something like that. And it hit me because it was just a year before that I lost my mother. Mm-hmm. Not enough oxygen to her brain. So I'm immediately in a panic. Where I was living at the time, South Point, the, what do you call it, life flight helicopters go over in my house every day. For some reason, this one, irritated me. It wasn't that early in the morning, and then it was in the afternoon. I'm like, why am I... So anyway, later on that night, found out my daughter was life flighted to Metro from South Point, and I'm like, that may be why that that particular one bothered me, because that might have been her in it. And I also have some issues with the hospital that I'm not going to discuss here. Exactly. But, but I wanted you all to get a sense of the children we're talking about, how we lost them. But now, for a minute, I want to get to how we as parents get through it. I'm not going to say gotten through it. Mine was 15 years ago, yours only 8 months ago, but this is a lifelong thing. Right. And phone lines are open at 440-252-0518. That's 440-252-0518. So what can you say was the biggest thing to help you through this right now?
I really can't say. It's been my daughters. They've been a big part of my life. My mom, my family. I've been lashing out. I do a little crazy stuff. But, yeah. Because I'm angry because they still haven't. I feel like they are not looking for the shooter. That's another thing that I'm feeling with the processes of going on through this healing process. So how can I heal when I can't even, and I'm praying to God, and I'm just like, I didn't never question him. At the end of the day, I never questioned him. But it's just like, Neicey, you have to. I've been going through counseling. I've been trying to do everything that I can do, but I still get angry on certain days. I might be happy some days, and then I'm getting up angry at the world and don't want to be bothered with nobody and probably be mad at the world.
Now, let me ask you this, because that's one thing I didn't do was seek out counseling. And as the years went on, I regretted that decision, because I think me, her mother, and her little sister all probably could have handled this a little better had we sought out counseling. But, I'm one of those people, I just put my trust in God. Somebody said to me, he's like, it's not natural for a parent to bury their child. And I was like, the first parents on earth had to bury theirs. So I don't know if that means it is natural, but I know it happens, that we have to do it. So what I want to ask was, how important has counseling been to you?
Some days I'll just throw it out the window because I be feeling the person that is giving me the counseling, she haven't never lost a child, so how can she feel how I feel? And with everyone's pain is different.
Right.
My pain can be different from yours. We all grieve different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So some days I'll be saying the counseling gonna be thrown out the window, but I know I need it because I just feel like my son just got robbed. He had a career. He was about to be something, and it really hurts me. It really, really hurts. Yeah. And I used to pray every time he used to leave out of my house to go to, because he went to Ginn Academy, but he played for John Hay. Mm-hmm. And I used to always pray before he would leave out of my house. He'd be like, Mom, gone. And I used to pray and make sure, Lord, just make sure my son make it to school and come home safely. And, you know, just for that day that he went out and just in the neighborhood, and, you know, he done watch, like he said, he done watch people pass away. And he said he never thought it would be him. And I would never thought it was either, because I only was at that store for a couple of minutes and they were calling me and saying I need to get back there. And I never had a response from my son again. So I do feel like I was robbed. And, you know, I can't question God. I never questioned him. Yeah. But, you know, I miss my son. He's down the street. Remember, she was like, Mom, he's right down the street. So when I leave here, I'm going to go see him. Yeah. But it's difficult. It's difficult for everyone. You know, everybody grieving differently, and it probably would never be the same for me, because that was my only son. And he always used to say, I want to play football. And I said, well, you want to do this? He said, yeah. And he was a tough little cookie. He was the skinniest little thing on the field. But then one day he just got up and he was tall. And I was like, well, this boy
growth spurt.
Yeah, but, you know, you just got to take one day at a time. Right. And just deal and keep praying to God. You know, sometimes the counseling don't help, but it do help some days. You know, but you have your days, and that's one thing that we have to. It's a process. Right. We'll never get over that we lost our children, but it's a process to healing. Yeah. Every day.
And I would like to say, we got to go to break in a second, but I want to say before we go to break, Neicey had a very good point that we all grieve differently. We didn't lose our children the same way. Hers was the violence, mine was the unexpected illness, disease. And it doesn't matter that her child was 17, mine was 14. I don't care if I had a sister that was stillborn and never even thought to talk to my mother about how that felt. Or you could be super grown and your child is grown like 40. Losing your child is losing your child, and it hurts and it's hard. But we are two examples of people getting through it. I won't say gotten through it, but we're getting through it. I always tell myself that I had another daughter, so it's not like I could lay down and quit. I mean, what do? You almost don't have a choice. Well, I don't mean almost. You don't have a choice. You have to keep going forward, or to be disrespectful to the memory of that child you lost. So anyway, we're going to take a quick break. Listen to some good music. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about gun violence and some of the things that we can do in our communities. And phone lines are open at 440-252-0518. Call and join the conversation. We'll be right back.
I'm Carol Johnson from Burlington, North Carolina, and I listen to Let's Be Real with Greg Bam Reaves Thursdays from 6 to 7 p.m. on Elevations Radio.
So me say you are the one who me love. I go take care of you. Me say you are my mama. You are my angel. Coulda never make me mother suffer. Woulda never make me mother suffer. You see, as long as your big son there, rise some peace they on fire. Hello say me coulda never make me mother suffer. No more sad tears, see me cry. 16 year old but she never stop try. Tears of joys now in her eyes. Growing up, my life never easy. My mother worked 2 jobs to feed way. Plenty disappointments along the way. She did what she could just to please me. He never right, single mom, raising 5 children, just she one. Father disappear, magic man. Glad she never put me up for adoption, but only me straight from my heart. Any day one of my songs top the chart. You never feel it for another straw. Your big son I go provide you with everything you want. Coulda never make me mother suffer. coulda never make me mother suffer. You see, as long as your big son there, rice and peas they on fire. You say me coulda never make me mother suffer. No more side tears, see mommy cry. System you rock but you never stop try. Tears of joys now in her eyes. I remember coming home from school one evening. Have my mind upon rice and fried chicken. Change my clothes, head straight to the kitchen. Open the pot, me surprised when me looking. Don't call me even red peas. Mommy says, son, just eat it please. Coconut juice, me use boil on the peas. Me not have no money, that's all me got left. Turn call me that night be my dinner. Sister and me, 3 brothers plus mama. Around the table we all sit together. Join our hands and then we say we pray. But me tell you, me coulda never make me mother suffer. Coulda never make me mother suffer. You see, as long as your big son there, rice and peas they on fire. You say me coulda never make me mother suffer. No more side tears, see mommy cry. System you rock but you never stop try. Tears of joys now in her eyes.
Kill the real thing growing inside of me. It's the dream manifesting, incubating blessings. No more stressing, no more stressing. People just wanna be happy, but they don't know how to break through. They don't know how to break through. They can't help the way they feel. I know the truth, and it starts with you. Hey, yeah. Way down inside, way down, deep down in your
Okay, and we're back. That was Donnie Lene, Way Down. I love that song. And before that, it was D. Will with Single Mom. We are joined by Neicey's daughter, Tanisha. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I want to say real quick, it's difficult. I really plan on giving a lot of really good advice on today's show, and there's really not a lot of good advice to give except for not giving up. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I've been living through this for 15 years, and Neicey's only been living through this for 8 months, and I'm pretty much in the same place she's at, just trying to get through day by day. Like my producer, who you all know is a mental health therapist, said it's a process. Losing anybody is a process, but a child is just different. For those who don't have children, I don't know if you'll ever understand, but it is definitely different. Even though these children that we make are not technically ours, we are given stewardship over them while they're here. Mm-hmm. And many of us take that responsibility seriously, wholeheartedly. And it's difficult when the guy says, okay, you did a good enough job, I'll take them back now. And you want to say, but wait a minute. Mm-hmm. I need them still. And he's like, trust me. And that's what I do every day. I trust him. The impact that she left on not only my life, and not only my family's life, but her friends, her teachers. She left such an impact in a short amount of time she was on this earth. I know why she was sent here, and I kind of feel like why she was taken back. So to all of you out there who have lost a child, I just want to say hang in there. You will have good days again. You're going to still laugh. You're going to still have fun, and you're not going to feel guilty about laughing and having fun. Like, you think that you have to grieve every moment, every day. No, you don't. If Adam and Eve had done that, then we probably wouldn't be here, for those of us that are Christians like me. But, yeah, so anyway, moving on, that was my little spiel. So, Tanisha.
Yes.
How is it being the sibling?
It's really difficult to deal with, like my mother said. But with her, it's different because, my brother, that's her son. But my brother was my best friend. So, like, he was like a everyday part of my life. I don't stay with my mom or nothing, but I always made sure I would come down to see my brother and sister every moment, like every day, actually. Mm-hmm. Like, I just spent a lot of time with him, and when he was in the hospital, I spent most every day with him, like making sure he was okay, making sure he needed everything. Anything he needed, I would tend to his needs. Like, that's all I knew what to do. I can say one thing I remember when my brother first got shot. He woke up the next day, and he wasn't supposed to. They said he wasn't even supposed to wake up that next day. But he woke up, and he asked to talk to me, because what I went through when I was 14, I had got shot by a stray bullet. It came through our home and ended up hitting me. I was getting ready to have my 14th birthday party. But he called me, and he was like, sister. I'm like, yeah. He like, we some soldiers.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, we some soldiers, but you stronger than me. You always been stronger than me. Because I couldn't be as positive and just good-hearted and just still had laughter like he was. He was very beautiful. So
that was one thing that I neglected. I'll admit I neglected at the time of my daughter's passing. My youngest daughter, she was unbelievably strong, and in my mind at the time, because I always taught them about being strong, and my mother was like the strongest person I've ever met in my life, and she had a big influence on their lives. So I kind of, in my mind, thought, okay, she's okay. I need to concentrate on me or somebody else. And I kind of left my youngest daughter to fend for herself, not realizing that was her best friend and big sister. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't see that. As a matter of fact, to be totally honest, I was a little afraid that they were passing because of me. And I kind of strayed away from my youngest daughter because I didn't want to lose her too. When I came home from prison in 2001, a month later, I lost my great-grandmother. A year later, my mother. A year after that, my oldest daughter. 2 years after that, my only uncle. And I'm like, wait a minute. Is this me? Am I getting, punished for my past sins? So that's the one thing I regret, that I wasn't there more for my youngest daughter. I mean, she's an incredible young lady now, but she still has her pain like we all do. And I want to be there for her in any way I can. But, it's hard. It doesn't matter, like, what part of the family you are. And when I'm talking about, like, immediate, like, parents, siblings, and all that, it's just like, it's different, and yet it's the same pain. So I want to get into this gun violence thing a little bit, because I think about it in different ways. Like I get mad when I hear the phrase black on black crime, like other crime don't exist, like that's the only crime there is. But then in the same token, when I hear about the story of Michael Chapman, then I am mad about it. I mean, it could have been a white kid in a white neighborhood or a Puerto Rican kid in a Puerto Rican neighborhood. The color didn't really matter. It's the senselessness of it. Is that even you yourself, 14, stray bullet. How do I say this correctly on the radio? Because I can't cuss on my show. Can we start raising these young men and women? Put your hands up. And I'm not talking about surrendering to the police. I'm talking about defending yourself with these and put them guns down. There is nothing that could possibly be so important that you want to take somebody's life. If your life isn't threatened, then you shouldn't be threatening nobody else's. You are robbing families and people of their lives for dumb stuff. Because you're afraid to get beat up. People take L's. It happens in life. Not just physically. You take an L on your job. Somebody else get promoted ahead of you. You take an L in a store. Somebody got the last sale item that you was trying to get. Life is about taking L's. It's how you come up from them. How many of you people know how to ride a bike? Don't tell me you never failed trying to learn how to ride a bike. Don't tell me you never failed trying to learn how to skate. But that didn't stop you. You kept getting up until you learned how to ride a bike. You kept getting up until you learned how to skate. You can get up from being beat. You can't get up from a bullet. Well, you know what I mean. Not always. So I had to say that because this bothers me. This was don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it just because he was a football player and I love football too, and I want to go to Ohio State. I'm staring at the Ohio State mug right now. And me and Mike had a lot in common. It doesn't matter if he played the flute. It doesn't matter if he was on the drill team. This boy had no reason to be shot. Nothing. He was not doing anything that deserved that. And not by the police, by a fellow member of the community. So, okay, I'm through preaching. I'll let y'all back in on the conversation. Phone lines open at 440-252-0518, 440-252-0518. So have you been involved in some support groups? I mean, as far as like, I know they're having some rallies. They've had that's another thing. We've had way too many rallies here in Cleveland because of people suffering from violence.
I'm will be at a rally next week, but I'm just like these rallies and marching and everything. I'm just don't understand, like, with these guns. We don't own them. These kids can get a gun before they get a book to take to school. I'm being very real about the situation because I'm not gonna sit up here and say my son was peaches and cream, but I knew what my son was doing because that's the type of mother I was. I did my son laundry, and I would go in my son's room and know what he have in his room and what is going on with his life. And I just feel like a lot of parents need to start stepping up and being parents and not their kids' friends.
Right.
Because my mother was never my friend. And yes, when I was growing up, your neighbor can discipline you and all this stuff. So then they done took all of this stuff out of the community of chastising your kids. So what do they expect to go on in the communities?
Right.
When they done took everything. You can't touch a child. They got all this stuff going on. But if we stop being our kids' friends and start being parents again, maybe some of the stuff will stop going on in this world.
That's right. That is not an exaggeration. When I know young people probably get tired of hearing us say it. Like, I get a whipping from my neighbor, then my mama, then my father get home from work, him too. That is the truth. That's how our neighborhoods were. And it wasn't a bunch of grown people just being mean, beating on kids. We cared. Exactly. We cared about each other. We cared about the community we lived in. And our village did raise us. You know, my mother had to work 2, sometimes 3 jobs. I'm not sure where my brother, my sister, and I would be had it not been for some nosy neighbors making sure we were, following what my mother wanted. Now, granted, once we got grown, we made our own decisions, and like me, I've been to prison and all that stuff, but that had nothing to do with my upbringing. My mother and my neighbors did a great job. I just made some bad decisions when I got older, but it had nothing to do with guns, I'll tell you that. No, but I'm really serious about that. I mean, like you said, we don't own them, yet they're in our communities more, like you said, than books are. But a lot of it is up to us as parents, as neighbors, as friends. We can't keep going around saying, "Oh, that's just how Junebug is." No, that's not cool. Somebody needed to step to them, or as. Let me step back a little bit, because I don't want nobody walking up on nobody crazy and getting shot. That's not what I'm advocating. I'm saying we need to get together and really start being serious about raising our community. It's more than just in your household. It's in the area you live. We have to do something because nobody's going to do it for us, and we know each other. I'm sure a lot of these people we see that are victims of violence are victims of people they know because they're just out of control and nobody says or do nothing.
Exactly.
I always tell people it's not snitching unless you're part of the game. If you in the game, you know what it is. But if you're not in the game, that ain't snitching. That's doing the right thing. Call the police. You see somebody breaking your neighbor's house. I ain't got no problem with that. That ain't snitching to me. I'm getting a little off track because I'm getting mad. I'm getting upset. Anyway, no, man, I'm just saying though, we do have to support each other in rallies and all that. That's great because it brings attention, but attention to what? Then what do we do next? You know what I mean? Like, what's the next move? We go to a rally Saturday. Then what?
Then something else happened, and then everybody divided like we are right now. Because when you just spoke on that no snitching code, but if it creep up on your doorstep, right, then you would want somebody to say what happened to, like you said, Junebug, or you know what I'm saying. But we are so divided as black people out here, and it's sad. Yeah, it's really sad that we have to live like this. And I will continue to say the way we living is not right.
Right.
And they are happy how we are living. They just don't kill each other. That's what they say. Oh, we ain't got to worry about them. They just gonna kill each other.
Yeah.
And it's not fair, it's not fair when people are trying to do something. I'm not perfect, and my son wasn't perfect either, but my son was going places. And I knew that I had this one only son that I was trying to raise on my own as a man. Like, his father would do things, but he wasn't always around, and that's another problem too. These men need to start stepping up and being parents to these boys and be fathers, and maybe the world will be a little better too if they guide them to be right.
You're right. Last week I talked about child support, and fellas, I reiterate what I said before. Giving your children's mother some money, that's not all what child support is. Young men need positive male role models in their life. They do. Like I said before, my mother was a great woman, and she would tell me all the time, I ain't your father. You got a father. But she made sure that I was in sports so I could be around positive male role models because my father wasn't in my life. She didn't try to take on that role because she knew it takes a man to do that. So fellas, come on now. I've seen guys be the perfect father to their woman's kids. But act like they don't know their own. Oh, I gave his mom a child. What did I have to do with him? That boy needs you. I'm going to tell you this. I'll go back to what I said before about putting your hands up. Maybe if you're in your son's lives, they wouldn't be so quick to pick up guns because they'll find a better way. So yeah, fellas, we got to step up. I mean, and I don't want to hear the excuse about baby mom make it difficult, whatever. Man, come on now. That's communication on both sides. We both got to work on that, or stuff like this is going to continue to happen. I am so tired of seeing teddy bears and flowers on telephone poles. It's getting on my nerve. And we got to figure some things out. We fighting against so many different things. The police, the government, city councils, like everybody's against us. And then we're against ourselves. Some way, somehow, we got to stop that with love of self, and then outwardly to our immediate surroundings, and outwardly to our community, and keep it going until,
Yeah, that's another thing too. It's like the government, they really don't care. And my mother always be saying, Michael Jackson made that song. They don't really care about us.
Right.
But he was speaking, and that is the truth. Like, okay, you ain't got to be with me, but that's your son. Just take your son and do some things. Yeah. You ain't got to always give your son no money. We don't have to buy our kids. Spend time with your kids. Do things with them.
Right.
Find out what they love to do. And, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to... That child support stuff is more, like you said, it is more than child support. Giving them some money. Take your kids and do some things with them.
A lot of times our children just want to talk.
Yeah, that's
because they're going to remember, they're going to have memories of events more than they're going to have memories of what you bought them. Like, I can remember having some Jordan, my first Jordan, but you don't remember who gave them to you.
Right.
You just know you had some Jordans before. So that type of stuff actually means nothing. But I personally can remember having walks with my mother a few months before she passed away, and we talked about everything. And that's when she became my friend. I was 39 and she was 62. So I was at the age where we could be friends. Because like you said earlier, as a parent, you can't be your child's friend. Once they become grown, now you can be friends. Because now they understand everything you were trying to teach them growing up. Yeah, when you're a kid, you're supposed to be mad at your parents if they're doing the right thing. You know what I mean? If they saying, no, you can't go to that party until you do your homework, then you should be mad. And they are absolutely right. So, yeah, we got a lot of work to do. But I really, really hope that those of you going through something similar that Neicey and I are going through can find a little solace, a little comfort in some of the things we said tonight. I hope that there's some more support groups that grow out there. This is way too popular of parents burying their children. And nobody does this alone. We all need somebody to lean on. There's some people that don't have another child. They only had that one. And it could have been an accident from drunk driving during prom or whatever. It doesn't make a difference how it happened, but we all need each other. We're a human family, and we need to start lifting each other up instead of trying to tear each other down.
Exactly, and that's one thing I've been saying. Like, we need to start coming together and just being like, man, my dad done be saying like the neighborhood was good back in the day because everybody was looking out for each other. People don't be wanting you to say nothing to their kids and stuff, and then you have to think about that too.
I wish we'd have got to that earlier.
They don't be wanting you to say nothing, and then it's just I just want the world to be a better place. I would have never expected that my son would have left this world like that. And they used to say back in the day, your parents supposed to leave before the kids.
Yeah.
And these kids are leaving before the parents. Every time you turn around, these kids is like teenagers, 17, 14, 15, 16. They doing everything. And if we not going to pull out what is really going on, they didn't want us. They stopped making us discipline our kids a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
So y'all just letting our kids, y'all want our kids to do everything in there. And you got to tell the truth.
There was those 976 kids when I was growing up.
All of that stuff.
We couldn't call nobody. We call our grandparents, and they might come over and whoop us too.
Exactly. So, it's just a lot of stuff is going on in the world that don't supposed to go on. How you gonna tell me I can't whoop my son or my daughter?
Yeah. Or you go to jail and then they go to foster kids. Well, I mean, how does that work?
And it's crazy. And with these young men and young women, one going in the grave and y'all going to jail, so both families losing. It's just a lot of stuff. People gotta step up and realize that we have to stick together.
There you go.
As a minority, and we is, because these people don't care about us. I'm gonna keep saying that.
I hate that. We might have to have a part 2 to this show because we gotta go. I thank you so much, Tanitra and Neicey, for coming through and talking to us about this. And God bless you both. You're gonna be in my prayers. And if you out there, now we broadcast all around the world. But I'm talking right now specifically to those in the Cleveland area. Who knows where this person is? He might be out there in California for y'all listening out there, or Guam, wherever. But if you know anything about this person, step up to the plate. You can make an anonymous call, something, because somebody knows something. I know they do. It ain't snitching. If you ain't do it, it ain't snitching. This young man deserves justice. His family deserves justice. His mother deserves justice. Our communities deserve justice. Say something. That's being a man. That's being a woman. Coming forth and doing the right thing. So, with that, we got to get out of here. And as I always say, develop your hunger for knowledge and feed it. Pick up a book and read it. Set a goal and see it through. And always, always believe in you. Peace and love, fam.
Amen.
My name is Janaj. Brave.
feel it.